Christos anesti.
Christos anesti.
Christ is risen.
Truly he is risen.
Good morning. The story is told of a monk in a monastery who was assigned by the abbot to be the cook in the kitchen. And for many years, the monk was cooking faithfully every day. And all the other monks, after every meal, would gather together and say that food was terrible. Why did this man get assigned this job? He obviously cannot cook. And this went on for years and years, until one day the monk who was the cook died. And the abbot of the monastery at the funeral gave a eulogy and said, "This man was the most faithful man here. Of all of us who are here, if anyone's going to go to heaven, it's going to be this guy." And all the monks said, "Wait a minute, he was terrible. We're glad that he's dead. He cooked awful food. Why do you think that he, above all the others, is going to go to heaven?" And the abbot opened the Bible to the passage where Jesus says, "Judge not, and you will not be judged." And he said, this man was here faithfully. And he knew that you were all gossiping about him, and he never said anything to you or anybody. He just went about his work as best as he could. The Bible says, "Judge not, and you will not be judged." He never judged anybody, and God will not judge him. Now, whether this is a true story or just a nice metaphor, I do not know. But the message is clear. We are not to judge other people. It is good to see your faces today. It has been hard not to see them. It's been hard not to feel engaged with you at times when I'm serving or preaching. It's been hard to invite you to Holy Communion wearing a mask myself. As you probably, I hope, read or listened to the video we put out the other day, after consideration of the CDC guidelines, the metropolis of Atlanta has issued a protocol that we no longer have to wear masks in church if you don't want to. Some of us want to continue wearing masks, and that's okay. And some of us don't, and that's okay. And what I don't want to happen in our community, whether it's St. John's or any other community, is for there to be a division or a debate or an argument about what people are doing. Jesus tells us that we are to lead with love. By love, that's how people know that we are the disciples of Jesus. If we have love for one another. In the moment that we're judging, we're not loving. So I'm glad that you're here, and however you wish to be here. Today, tomorrow, next month, next year, we receive you with love, and we lead with love. And I ask that we put love and the things that go along with love, kindness, patience, optimism, I wish for us to put those things in the front of our minds as we negotiate our way through this next phase of how we're proceeding as a community. I have to say that for the last year, and we reopened the church June 1st, will be 1 year. Of the 52 Saturdays of the past year, we've had liturgy on 49 of them. And I did 39 of those liturgies, which has been very hard. And thank God Father John is here to pick up many of the last months. And so after this Saturday, we're going to discontinue that. We're going to have liturgy this final Saturday, and then we're going to discontinue that. Because now we are able to come as one body, with one voice and one heart, the way we're praying in the liturgy, to offer liturgy, not a voice on Saturday and another voice on Sunday, but with one voice and one heart and one mouth to offer the liturgy. And why do we not lead with judgment? This goes to the gospel lesson that we just read, the healing of a paralytic. And this paralytic was laying at the side of a pool for 38 years. 38 years is a long time. 38 years ago, I can't even add up how old I was. 11 years old. In the middle of junior high. Imagine taking my life out of junior high up to the present moment, and for that long, to be sitting next to a pool, hoping that an angel would come and stir the water, and hoping that somehow I could get there first. Because whoever put themselves in the pool after the moving of the water was healed of whatever they had. And imagine after many years of not being able to get there and someone else getting in there first, it would probably be very discouraging. You might even lose hope that I could get in the pool. And you might wonder in those 38 years, why does anybody here not have the kindness or the sense or the anything to help me? Have I not waited my turn 38 years? Why does no one help me? And all of a sudden, Jesus shows up one day and says to this man who's been sitting there for 38 years, do you want to be healed? You might think after 38 years someone would be pretty cynical. They might say, you know what? Go away. Are you joking with me? Are you toying with me? Are you teasing me? I've been here for 38 years. I've resigned myself. I'm going to live here the rest of my life like this. But he says, sir, I have nobody. I have nobody. Maybe you will be my somebody. But I have nobody. But he doesn't lash out at him and say, go away. He has some hope. And Jesus says to him, take up your bed and go home. And the guy doesn't say, what are you talking about? He says, all right. He gets the bed and he goes home. Some of us may have been waiting for something for a long time. Maybe we're waiting for something that still hasn't happened for us. Some of us may feel like the paralytic. We may feel alone. I have nobody who understands me. I have no one to help me. The message of the paralytic today is don't give up hope, ever. The ultimate healing may not be walking or whatever success we are hoping for, and it may not happen this year or next year or for 10 years or for 38 years. But the ultimate healing is salvation, and it's on the table for everyone. The ultimate healing is salvation, and it's on the table for everyone. Now, in my 23 years, not 38, in my 23 years as a priest, I have never encouraged people to watch a TV program from the pulpit. So I'm going to make an exception, and I'm going to encourage you to watch a TV program. And this program is called The Chosen. Some of you may have heard of it. It's about the life of Jesus. The longest epic show about Jesus was Jesus of Nazareth. People that are my age and older, we grew up with that, an all-star cast. But it was like 8 hours. And we've seen other movies like The Passion of Christ, which lasts like 2 hours. And these movies, they're great. But they don't have the time to develop characters or to talk about backstories, because they have to get the message done in 2 hours or less. And so they're making this show called The Chosen, which is going to have 8 seasons, times 8 shows, times an hour each. That's a lot of hours about the life and ministry of Jesus Christ. And why should we watch this show? Number one, it's good. It's about Christianity. It's pretty darn accurate. I watch these things with the Bible on my lap to see how much they are faithful. Don't watch the movie Noah about talking stones and trees and things like that. That is not biblically accurate at all. Don't watch Exodus, Gods and Kings. That is not accurate at all. This is very accurate, number one. Number two, we all spend money putting money in the coffers of all kinds of terrible movies, violent movies, whatever. Let's put some ratings to people who are trying to do a good thing. But the biggest reason to watch this show is that as a society, we've lost our imagination about things. 100 years ago, before there were videos, and you said, Joe and Judy were fishing on the lake, we could imagine what that might look like. But now we've kind of lost our imagination. You say Joe and Judy are fishing at the lake, we're like, what does that mean? What does the lake look like? So by seeing something on video, you have an understanding of what it may have been like. And so in this story of The Chosen, and there's been 12 episodes, number 13 is tonight. I'm going to spoil it for you for one of them. But one of the episodes was about the healing of the paralytic that we saw today. And now the Bible does not give a backstory of how this guy got there for 38 years. So in the story, and again, forgive me for spoiling it, in the story, this boy is a young boy, he's playing, and he falls out of a tree. And he's paralyzed, right? He wasn't born that way. Now, the Bible doesn't say, was he born that way or not? Could he have been born that way? Probably. Could he have fallen out of a tree? Probably. Could have happened. And so they show him in his life playing with his brother and the friends, and they're all running around, and he can't run around. And they try to include him. And somehow he ends up by this pool, and they show what the pool may have looked like. And the troubling of the water, they show like sort of like a fountain, a little fountain coming out in the water, troubling the water. And it makes me think of Epiphany in Tarpon Springs. Everybody just sort of dives into the pool. And the person who gets in is healed. And so they show the man with the great thing of makeup and whatever. They show him aging there. From a young man to an old man to a scruffy man to a gray-haired man. And you see that he's sad and somewhat he's bitter. I mean, you can see that. You can't see that in the Bible reading that we just read. Unless you stop at every verse and you close your eyes and you imagine what that could have looked like, most of us just kind of gloss right over that. So that when Jesus comes and says, do you want to be healed, the show has shown us his 38 years of disappointment. And then it shows on his face that there's some faith there after 38 years. And then it shows an unbelievable joy when he's healed. And then, of course, there are the people in the back snickering, he did that on the Sabbath. And you understand why there was a tension there. Why is this important? Why am I talking about this at all? Because now, many of us, as I said, have lost our imagination on things of faith. Many of us have been away from the church for a year. And there are many people even who are in the church, who have been faithfully in the church, who don't understand what we're doing, and they get to a certain point in their life, and it might be a pandemic, or it might be graduation from high school, or it might be a kind of crisis in adult life, and they just turn the channel, they stop tuning in. And so it's almost like a desperate way. Let's get more clued in, not only to reading the Bible, but to putting on screen what this might have looked like. We don't know if that man said, I've been here 38 years, he was crying, or if he was screaming, or if he was cynical, or if he was hopeful. But this gives us an idea of what could have been there. So I encourage you to watch this show. There's an app called The Chosen. You can watch it for free. And season 2, episode 5 airs tonight. Don't watch that though. Go back and watch from the beginning. I'll tell you the first 2 episodes are a little bit difficult because they have a significant backstory. But from episode 3 on, it kind of moves at warp speed. And it's very good. It's very good. On that note, one other thing that I want to do here, and I've discussed this over the last couple of days, and some of it's still marinating in my head. We're going to offer a 6-week pilot program for our Goyans and parents. And so if you're in Goya or you're a parent of a Goyan, we're going to have a 6-week pilot program about The Chosen. It's going to meet after church starting in a couple weeks. We're going to watch an episode and have a guided discussion about that. And why is that important? Because our teenagers are losing their imagination, and if they've lost their imagination and they're close to losing their faith, they're going to go to college and they're not going to be involved here. And we have had an excellent Sunday school and an excellent Goya for years, but our batting average of keeping college students here in college and especially after college is abysmal. And so this is an attempt to put some fire there, to put some insulation there for their faith. So if you're a Goya boy, girl, or parent, in the next week, be looking for an announcement and a video of this pilot program. It's going to be some for just girls, a program for just boys, a program for just parents, so that we can have like a sort of a small group atmosphere and discuss this. Again, the paralytic did not ever give up hope, and that is our goal. Don't ever give up hope, not in yourself and certainly not in God. And this statement, I have no one, I feel alone, there are people who think that, and it's our Christian duty to be looking out for them, so that if they don't have a somebody, that you can be their somebody. Nobody should ever feel alone. Amen.